Harriet, for coming and sitting with me here at Galleria Corsica for our chat. I know you've been, in mask and gloves, kind of, in full protection during this quarantine, and we're at week 3 right now. And your office at Corcoran Realty is just around the corner here in a normally bustling walking neighborhood, right?
Yes.
And it's real quiet now.
Yes, it is.
It's been very quiet. People have been really good about complying with that. So I'd love to chat with you today and get your perspective on the marketplace. You're also the president of AMPI, the Puerto Vallarta Real Estate Association. And for home buyers and realtors who are not from this market, explain the importance of that association here in PV.
Well, AMPI is a national organization, private organization, and I'm the president of the Vallarta chapter. We also have Naya Reed and Compostela, so there are 3 of us that share the market, which goes from El Tuito all the way past Lo de Marcos. So we are a private organization that aspires to be professional and adapt the rules that we find our mentors to have, which include the ethics. And we are very fortunate to have a genuine MLS system which helps us with data.
That's right. So speaking of adapting, what would you say to your AMPI Realtor Association members who are going through this 30-day quarantine or stay home in this quite large territory, as you've mentioned?
Well, we've had a lot of help. What we need to be doing is studying, being observant, and this is a great time to have additional webinars. So we have been, National has been very generous in sending us webinars. Our group does those as well. So we have to be educated, and this is a great time to use our time at home doing this.
Take stock, be learning.
Right, and observant, and to keep in touch with their base, and if their base is all their current and past clients, and
very true.
And just to reach out to them and know that you want to would like to know how well they're doing, and
right.
And it's very touching when you can sort of have the personal back and forth, even though it's by email and sometimes by phone. But
yeah.
I think everyone right now appreciates someone saying, "Hey, how are you?"
Sure. And reassuring home buyers and owners who are maybe not in town or have had to leave, that things are great here and things are tranquil, and even some of the new construction is progressing, maybe at a little slower pace, but that provide reassurance.
We actually have to check that very thoroughly. Most of the homes of people that are not here have managers, and one or another agent, maybe their oversight person. We make sure we check the homes regularly.
Great. So an added service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to do that.
Reassuring.
We need to do that, and we need to make sure everyone's in compliance with how they're supposed to be spending their time out, and only for going to the grocery store or the pharmacy.
So regulating the most necessary.
And just anticipate that things are different and be more aware.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of being aware, I'm really interested to highlight some of the things you mentioned in your recent blog. But you talk a lot about new ways to market, and also to restore the Puerto Vallarta real estate community after all of this is over. So, what advice would you give to PV tourism boards and city officials to cultivate a marketing campaign that does, reassure people who have had to leave and go home?
Well, I think this is a great time for introspection. We have to all look back through who we are and what we do.
Yeah.
And a lot of the buzz or noise is not in our lives, so we need to really focus on what our strengths are.
Yeah.
And not overreact.
Yeah.
There was some concern about some agents just writing death and doom and, you know, prices slashing, and this would be like the Great Depression.
Sure.
And that's of course an overreaction. I was afraid the first week. I went around, what am I gonna do, what am I gonna do? And you have to start clearing out the noise and start thinking. But we have to identify our strengths.
Yes.
And we clearly have them. And I'm very grateful this time we're not being singled out as a country that's unsafe. And that's happened to us before.
Sure.
When there's been a competition
Well,
for the
yes.
dollars that would be invested here versus
Right.
other parts of North America.
And I think you highlight an important point that in the state of Jalisco, where Puerto Vallarta is located, we have extraordinarily low numbers of the virus at this point, and really almost non-existent in reporting so far in Puerto Vallarta. So out of all the places you could be in the world, this is ranking one of the lowest rated countries, and one of the safest provinces so far from a numbers perspective.
Right, and we have to be careful of that because that can change if we're not diligent, and I think keeping the distance
keep
is
it
the
that way.
biggest single thing, because
With this proper safeguards.
yeah, it's not culturally going to be, or the background of the country is not going to be run out and start spending money on things that haven't been proven. We don't have the money to waste on things, so we have to be careful what is chosen. So we really are, I think we're going to go into the summer with this because, and I do applaud the local government for making sure we were not inundated in Easter, those 2 weeks, because with crowds like that, that's exactly how people get sick.
Yeah, that was a tough call, I think. In a 2-week span where this town sees incredible traffic through the Easter holiday season, Semana Santa in particular, the officials made a decision to actually close the city and officially close the beaches so that tourists didn't come to town. I mean, is that a first, or have you seen anything of that magnitude before in this
Not
area?
since I've lived here, since
Yeah.
'97.
That's
That
astonishing.
is, but it was prudent because the
Difficult
last thing you want
and
are
prudent move.
people that are going to leave another area, come here,
Right.
leave what they might be
Right, that transient traffic.
they're contagious, and
Right.
go back. That would have been a nightmare.
Very prudent, yeah. So what would you say to home buyers who had to leave and go back to their countries of origin, and what would you say to them in terms of thinking about coming back, or the safety of their properties here?
I don't think there's any reason for them to be worried. It is sure, as long as they're sure that their manager, is checking their people going without food now because their jobs,
Sure.
they've lost their jobs. So there's going to be an increase in that. Their food banks are incredible what they're doing.
Incredible job.
Even the pet food banks, of which I help. So if
Really
someone
amazing.
wants to help with donation or food,
Right.
because the pets are going to be left out of
Sure.
the equation if there's not enough
Right.
food to go around, and they'll be put out on the streets.
And I think you really underscore one of those beautiful attributes that draws people to this lovely region, year after year and season after season, is the beauty of the people, the generosity of the spirit, those that have been drawn here to relocate to Puerto Vallarta have a sense of incredible community, and it's really coming through at this time in terms of all of that social impact work and the community volunteerism that's happening now. I mean, it's really profound and powerful.
You're right, and one of the biggest bases here all year round are expats that contribute
Exactly.
in innumerable ways
Right.
to invigorate the community, and the most satisfying are the ones when you have the cooperation of both groups, like Becca's is for scholarships for children. So this is a pretty neat place to be.
Yeah, it's very special. And you highlighted in your blog that actually Puerto Vallarta has some incredible natural attributes that distinguishes it tremendously from almost any other Mexican resort destination. As a marketer, how do you see us being able to utilize that those natural attributes in our post-quarantine campaigns?
Well, I think we need to remember what the real attributes are, and they will be intrinsic values, and we're
Yes.
not losing them.
That's
And I
right.
think people will be more thoughtful, or a group of people in the world will be more thoughtful of how they want to spend their lives.
Right.
And great natural beauty is probably one of the best things human beings can grow from, and it be renewed.
Cultivate your spirit, yes.
Right.
So even long after this virus comes and goes, this region will continue to offer incredible beauty and natural resources that are incredibly restoring, as you mentioned, and will continue to draw people back to the region. So I thank you, Harriet, for underscoring that probably most profound point, and continuing to be, a leader in our community and paint the way forward for many productive real estate seasons to come, right?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I've written another blog subsequent to that one to try to answer some questions that we could discuss later if you wish.
Yes.
Or and I want to choose an appropriate subject for this week too, because there's a
Perfect.
theme here that I wanted to develop.
That's perfect. Okay, so we'll link that blog below in the comments so folks can subscribe to that content and make sure that we follow each week as you continue to issue a point of view on the market during the coronavirus.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Harriet. It's such
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.